Welcome to this week's edition of the Butler Beat. I'm Jeff Stonick. This year, a public campaign by the Indiana Excise Police has caused some confusion among Butler students about what exactly the Excise Police are doing here on campus. Joining me today is Corporal Travis Thixton, a spokesman for the Excise Police. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
To start things off, why don't you tell us what exactly your role is with the
Yeah, I'm the Public Information Officer for the State Excise Police. I do obviously enforcement in the field, but obviously as well things like this, helping people understand what the Excise Police are, what we do, and that kind of thing.
This year, the Excise Police approached their job in a more public spectrum through press releases. Why is the change this year from previous years?
Yeah, one thing we wanted to do this year to kind of change things up and see if we could make more of an impact was to essentially heighten the public awareness of what the agency does. We don't want it to be a secret that the Excise Police are out there. We want folks to know that we're out doing what we're doing.
When a member of the Excise Police enters a party, what are they looking for and what are their goals exactly?
Right, depends on the circumstances. So no two cases are exactly the same. Initially what draws police attention to the party might be the issue, loud noise or something of that nature. People outside causing some type of disturbance on a front porch or front yard or backyard, something like that. So the officers are looking for a number of things. They're looking for minors possessing or consuming alcohol, those who appear not to be 21. They're looking for the sale of alcohol without a permit and other related types of violations.
Do the Excise Police act in the jurisdiction of the state of Indiana or the Butler University?
Yeah, the State Excise Police is the enforcement division for the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, so we're state employees.
Do the Excise Police, or have they ever, formed fake Butler student IDs to portray a student and enter a party easier, or will that ever be the case?
To my knowledge, we've never done that.
Never done that?
Right.
What would you say to members of the public who claim that your actions are too extreme and that entering homes under a false identity is a violation of their privacy?
First of all, to my knowledge, we haven't ever gone into a place using anyone's Butler ID or anything of that nature. Our goal with this particular intensified college enforcement program is to reduce underage drinking and related issues. Most of our officers are in plain clothes. Some are in uniform doing patrols around campus, near campus, all the way up to Broad Ripple and all the areas between campus and Broad Ripple. They're looking for a number of different things. Primarily in the Broad Ripple area, they're looking for minors in taverns. They're looking for use of fake IDs, things of that nature. When they're on routine patrol, they're looking for anything any other police officer's looking for. Safety issues, someone driving down the road at 1 o'clock in the morning without headlights on is a problem. Things like that normal police do. As far as underage drinking parties, obviously we take appropriate action when we come across those, but that's not exclusively what we do. We're not just looking for large parties or house parties or apartment parties. We're looking for a variety of other things. And as a matter of fact, I think so far this year, almost all of the tickets and arrests we've made that have been near Butler's campus or between here and Broad Ripple have not been at parties. They've been at other types of places.
So with specifically Butler University, why do you feel your job is necessary? As in, why not let local authorities as the Butler University Police Department handle their own students?
Right, you have two issues here. The State Excise Police, like I said earlier, we're the enforcement division for the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. So we have a statewide role, not just on college campuses, but in communities throughout the state. Our primary role is to regulate the alcohol and tobacco industries. So we issue alcoholic beverage permits, and we make sure that the businesses that have those permits are complying with the law. So that's our primary focus. As far as enforcement goes, though, one of our central aims, I guess you could say, is reducing underage drinking. Obviously, that's a large part of what we do day to day. One thing we wanted to do this particular school year was look at kind of some different way of addressing underage drinking. How could we make more of an impact on underage drinking at some of these college communities? And so the very public campaign, like we've talked about so far, Jeff, that very public campaign, we want to see some change. We want to see not just numbers of tickets go up. Tickets are, part of what we do. That's not our goal. Our goal is to change the behavior, reduce underage drinking rates, and the problems that are associated with those things. So As far as what our agency does versus another agency, we have the same role in some respects, and we have different roles in other respects. So we regulate the alcohol and tobacco industries. You know, a Butler Police Department doesn't do that. And we go obviously off campus, and we go up to Broad Ripple, and quite frankly all over the state. So we have the same roles in some regards, but then we have unique parts of the picture that both agencies play.
Are the Excise Police strictly employees, or do you recruit perhaps students to go undercover and to look within a party to make your job easier?
No, State Excise Police have, I think we're at around 86 officers statewide right now. So you're looking at not quite one per county in Indiana. The only time that we hire and use someone under the age of 21 to do anything for us, we hire 18, 19, and 20-year-olds to do what's called the Survey for Alcohol Compliance. And that program, in that program, the State Excise Police work with those minors to go into establishments that sell alcohol. And what they're looking for is whether a business will sell alcohol to them or not. They don't carry fake IDs. There's no trick to the program. They're not allowed to lie about their age or their date of birth. They simply go into a particular bar, for example. They're sold the drink or they're not sold the drink, and the bar either passes or fails. Beyond that, we don't hire anyone underage or any age to try to get into some party or anything like that.
And do the Excise Police operate only on specific weekends, or are your visits random and throughout the year?
Yeah, throughout the state, we try to allocate our resources appropriately to what's going on around the state that particular weekend or that particular day. So some campuses have events like Grand Prix at Purdue, Little 500 at IU, football tailgating during home games. Some campuses have concerts and different things like that that go on, or other events where an increased police presence might be warranted. And so we'll respond to those things as they come up. We don't have a particular set schedule for the entire year that I could tell you now when we're going to be on campus. I don't know. We don't know. It depends on what's going on when. I think the thing for students to understand is don't break the law, because you don't know when we're going to be out there. It could be this weekend. It could be next weekend. It could be both. It just depends on a variety of different factors.
And was the press release only the beginning of the year, or will you do it prior to each weekend that you're heading out?
News releases are sent out generally after an enforcement action happens. So obviously all of our releases continue on the theme, letting folks know that we're out there doing this, and these are the campuses we're particularly focused on this semester to try to make an impact on those campuses. If the program is successful, we look to expand it. And by successful, I don't mean that we issue a lot of tickets. What I mean is over some period of time, our alcohol consumption rates among minors going down, are binge drinking rates going down, are some other issues, other problems associated with underage drinking, are those things changing? That's kind of how we determine whether the program's successful or not. If it is, we look to expand it and maybe look at some other campuses as well. But generally speaking, we at this particular point, obviously, when we're releasing information, it's going to be after something happens. But again, we're looking to let everyone know that we're out here doing this. We don't want it to be a secret.
And what areas or campuses are you specifically focusing on this semester?
Yeah, this semester we increased it from 3 last semester to 6. So we're looking not just at Butler, we're looking at Ball State, IU in Bloomington, Purdue University in West Lafayette, Notre Dame University in South Bend, Indiana State University in Terre Haute as well this semester.
Well, thank you for joining us, Travis. It was great to have you.
Thanks, Jeff.
And thank you for watching the Butler Beat. I'm your host, Jeff Stonek. Ashley Davis is hosting our next segment with the BUPD Assistant Police Chief, Bill Weber.
Welcome back to the Butler Beat. I'm Ashley Davis. Campus crime is an issue that all college students need to be aware of. I caught up with a few students to find out how big of an issue they think it is. Campus crime is an ongoing issue at Butler, but many students don't even think anything will happen to them. This wasn't the case, however, for one Butler alum who chose to remain anonymous.
He was walking down this alley late one night when a man approached him, hit him, and asked him for his wallet. But he was able to hit the man and escape. The alley was just a couple hundred feet from his house, which is only about a block away from campus.
It's weird, we've never had any problems this far north, and that's what the police told me too, so they were kind of concerned about that, and there were several other incidents that happened the next week or two around this area. So they really stepped up their patrol, and BUP did an excellent job in making me still feel safe.
He graduated from Butler in 2009 and said he had several friends at Butler that were held up at gun or knife point, but that he was never personally impacted.
This is supposed to be a safe haven for people, and the last thing we want to be worried about are, can I walk home from a friend's house without someone coming up to me trying to mug me?
But many students don't even worry about campus crime.
Well, I think on campus it's not that bad, but I've heard from other people that around here, in the neighborhoods around it, it can get pretty rough.
All of the crime that I know of is really going on at the HRC because I work there, just with people stealing things from lockers. I don't really have any spots that I stay away from because I feel pretty safe on campus.
But the victim says students should be better educated about what to do at night.
Definitely walk with a group. Try to get a ride if you're going somewhere late at night. The police offer to escort you across campus if you don't feel safe. Make sure you walk in well-lit areas. The area I was jumped in was very dark and a lot of overgrown bushes, so just keep to the main streets where there's a lot of lights and people can see you.
I'm here today with Butler's Assistant Police Chief of Operations, Bill Weber. Thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Now, I'm talking about overall crime at Butler. What kind of crime does Butler normally see?
Probably the biggest crime we have is simple theft, where a student, how often have you seen it where a student, they go somewhere to a building, they leave their iPhone just out in the open and walk away, and someone just walks by and decides to grab it. I can't tell you the number of times I eat at Atherton on Thursdays, and I'll see a student come in, set their iPhone down or any smartphone, and set down their wallet with their student ID and their keys, and then walk away to go get their meal, or they go out jogging, and they'll leave their property just laying alongside the fence at the track while they're out jogging, and it just disappears. But simple theft.
Right, and I know I've done that many times. You don't even think about it when you walk away that someone might take it, but has there been an increase in the number of crimes, or what has the trend been like over the last couple years?
Over the last couple of years, it's been pretty steady. Now, we had one additional burglary last year as compared to the year before, so one additional in 2011 as compared to 2010, but overall, all the other arrests that we've made and referrals, they've all pretty much remained steady. But liquor law arrests did go up last year.
Now, even though it has been pretty consistent, how concerned do you think students should be?
I want every student to be aware of their surroundings, to think about where they're at. I can't tell you the number of times at night if I'm out, or when I was out, and I would see a student, whether male or female, walking somewhere alone, off campus or on campus, and it would just always concern me that, hey, you need to be a little more aware of your surroundings. Let me give you a ride and get you back to where you need to be.
Now, I know students want to try to be safer, so what can they do to stay safe on campus?
I think always walking with the buddy system is always a good idea. And at nighttime, from dusk to dawn, BUPD, the University Police, will be more than happy to provide rides for students from one part of campus to another. And they should take advantage of that. I don't like to see a student walking along just during Welcome Week, for instance. I was out working. It was about 1 in the morning, and I saw a young lady who was walking down the road toward the gardens, and it was like, hey, where are you going? She goes, I'm walking back to UT. I said, well, why don't I'll just go with you. She goes, no, I'm fine. I said, well, I'd feel better if I went along with you. I said, I'll just kind of be up ahead of you. I was on the Segway, so I said, I'll just be on up ahead of you. You know, just so it made me feel better.
Now, for students who are victims of crime, what kind of help can they get on campus?
There is help through the Counseling Services Center over at the HRC. They will provide a student with counseling. If a student wishes to just talk things over, they have plenty of resources there.
And is that counseling free?
Yes, yes it is,
And-
and confidential.
And how long can it take for a victim to get over something like an assault or some other crime?
Oh, that would depend upon, I think, with the level of counseling that they would receive and their overall just mental well-being, and that would be a tough one to call as to how long it might take someone to get over it. But counseling services are available. They're free. They're confidential, and that would certainly help the student to learn to live with what happened and realize that they too can move on and get over this.
Now, can victims' families get counseling as well, or is it just for the students?
The families of victims, now the counselors can approach and talk to the family members if the student has provided permission. So in other words, a counselor is not going to call up the family of a student and say, hey, here's what happened, you know, do you want to talk about this? They won't do that unless the student has given their permission.
And will the counseling be available until the victim is completely better, or do they just provide it for a certain amount of time?
No, there's no time limit. It's available.
And then, are there any areas around campus that you think are more dangerous than others that students should maybe avoid at night or anything?
No, I don't. I just think that students should be fully aware of their surroundings and not venture anywhere on campus without a buddy.
Now, I know a lot of students run on the canal between Butler and Broad Ripple, so how safe do you think that path is?
I'm very comfortable in that area, but again, if you're going to go out jogging, let's say whether a co-ed or a male student, if they're going to go out jogging, go with a buddy.
Now, has there been a large number of bikes stolen over the past couple years?
There has been an increase in the number of bikes stolen. It's very frustrating in that a student brings a nice bike onto campus and then they lose it. Just a few days ago I was walking, I was cutting through Resco Hall, and I was in the inner courtyard and I saw a very nice bike. You could tell this bike was brand new. The tires were, you could just tell it was brand new. It wasn't even chained to the bike rack. I was able to walk out, I was just able to pull it out. I took a picture of it with my phone, and it's very frustrating because all it takes is someone just walking through and saying, I need to ride that. I need that bike. And then another thing is I see students who bring a bike onto campus and they might have a $200 bike and they'll have a $10 lock. I've seen locks that I can cut with, you know what a Gerber multi-tool, or you know, one of those handy knives that
Right.
turn into pliers. You know, everybody carries those, and I could cut through this cable with one of these tools. And so if you're gonna bring a bike on campus, get a U-bolt lock. I've never yet seen a bike stolen that's been secured with a U-bolt lock, and you can get them at the bookstore for about $23.
And this year, Butler has a new bike share program. Do you think there will be an increase in the number of bikes stolen because of that, or do you think it will not have any impact on it?
Well, obviously, you know, anytime you add more bikes to campus, that provides somebody the opportunity to steal more bikes. Now, these bikes, my understanding is they did come with a U-bolt lock. So if the student who is using the bike locks it up, no one's going to steal it.
And has there been a problem with people breaking into cars or stealing cars on campus? Is that a big issue, or?
We have had a report of one car that was stolen from here on campus, and unfortunately the vehicle was unlocked. And why make things easier? Lock your cars at night, all the time, even during the daytime. But again, that's taking a step. That's the person taking a step to protect their property and protect themselves.
And there has been an increase in crime in Broad Ripple. So what do you think this means for Butler students who enjoy going there?
If I were a Butler student going to Broad Ripple, I would stay on the main strip. And if I were going to venture off of the main strip, I would certainly do so with friends. I would stay out of dark areas within the just south of Broad Ripple. I used to work in that beat briefly when I was with the city police, and I know there's, because of the trees, and there are street lights, but the trees can really block a lot of that lighting. There are some darker spots up there, and I would avoid those areas. I know some arrests were made recently by Indianapolis Metro Police regarding robberies in that area, and hopefully that puts an end to it. But again, if you're going to venture out into Broad Ripple, I would urge you to stay on the main strip. If you're going to leave that, go with a group of friends. And when you're walking, don't walk with your head down while you're doing this with your phone. Constantly look around, be aware of your surroundings. And if something doesn't look right, just turn around and get back in the other direction.
Now, do most crimes both on campus and in Broad Ripple happen at night, or are there a lot that happen during the day too?
I couldn't find any stats that tend to favor one time of the day over the other. However, since we're talking specifically about Broad Ripple, the robberies that were occurring in Broad Ripple were at nighttime. But again, if you're looking for a crowd, you're going to find more of a crowd in Broad Ripple of people who might not be as aware of their surroundings at night than it would be in the daytime.
Now, is there anything specific students can do to stay safe while they're in Broad Ripple? I know you mentioned the buddy system earlier, but...
Buddy system, be aware of your surroundings. I would limit your alcohol intake so that you don't get to the point that you have absolutely no idea as to what's going on around you, because then you have made yourself a very easy target.
Now, has BUPD done anything in particular to decrease campus crime?
We have guys out working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and anything we can do to get student involvement, which is a very good thing. You're an additional set of eyes. I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten phone calls, or our dispatch has gotten phone calls from people. Hey, I don't know if this was suspicious or not, but an hour ago I saw this. It's like, gee, that sure would have been nice to know an hour ago versus now. So student eyes, faculty, staff eyes calling us, it's not a problem. Call us. If you see something that doesn't look right or looks out of place, or someone who looks out of place, call us. We'll come, and we won't be bothered by that.
So you don't think there's anything else that you guys could do to make sure there's less crime on campus? There's pretty much nothing else there.
Oh, if I had unlimited funding, I would love to put a big old fence, around campus, and there's lots of things I would love to do if I had unlimited funding. But I mean, let's face it, this is a real world. I don't have unlimited funding, and Butler traditionally has always been a very open campus. They welcome the BTNA neighborhood to come into campus, and that's fine. I want to keep everything closed up nice and tight for security, but I also understand the campus wants to be open and friendly.
Right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
Ashley Davis. Thank you for joining me on the Butler Beat.